My role at Sterts Theatre is volunteer centre director. It is a role I've filled for the last 18 months when the previous centre director decided that he was going to leave and do other things. Centre director is the sort of person who does everything really, from booking acts to changing the toilet rolls. So to call it centre director is actually quite a grand title for somebody who does absolutely everything. Sterts benefits the community because it gives them a focal point. There's something going on all the time at Sterts. In the summer, it's very obvious what's going on. There's plays, there's stuff going on, there's musicals, there's kids shows, there's all sorts. But all through the year, there are activities taking place at Sterts, whether they're conferences, people using the cafe for various things. We work very closely with Upton Cross School, which is another central part of the community. And it gives people a focus, it's somewhere to go, and I think people are quite proud of it as well, because they say, oh, I live in Upton Cross, that's where Sterts is, which is quite nice to hear, because obviously they're identifying Sterts and the village. But it's the atmosphere, it's very, very different. I quite often show people round, and the reaction when they walk through the door at the top, because it just looks like they're walking towards this vague grey canopy, and they stand at the top of the steps and look down over the amphitheatre, and generally the reaction is, wow, that's amazing. And it is an amazing space. It's one of the biggest stages I think I've ever worked on. It's incredibly flexible. You can do so much with it. And because the charity owns the theatre, we can chop and change it around as much as we like.
I don't know anywhere else like this. It's a huge stage, this great mass of entrances and exits. I mean, just physically it is very different. You've got a classic kind of amphitheatre arrangement here. It's actually got the perfect balance between size of stage and size of auditorium, whereas most theatres have small stages and big auditoriums. This is almost perfect. It should be roughly something like 1/3 to 2/3, and that's perfect. It doesn't have lots of resources in terms of budget for anything. What it doesn't have in that, it kind of makes a virtue of, because it sort of says, well, we're going to do the show in here. Forget having great big fancy sets. We're just going to do it, and actually the show will go to Camden. So it's incredibly different. I mean, you're not going in and being met with lines of offices of people working in the media, working in PR, working in this, that, and the other. You're not going into a place where, you know, there's 30 people building a set. It's completely different. It's all done by the community. So it's great.
I went to see Nick Stimpson, who's the writer-director of Cornish Phoenix, and he came and had a look at the theatre. He came and saw some shows last summer and said, yes, okay, I'll take it on. And attract a huge new performing audience, and we also attract a new bunch of people backstage to help run the show, which of course is as important as the ones who are on stage. The ones who are on stage get all the glory, but the ones who are running it backstage do all the work. I was very pleased. It is exactly what I expected. I had this personal vision of what I wanted to see, and that was a stage full of people acting their socks off, but absolutely enjoying it. Because of course, if they don't enjoy it, they'll go away at the end saying, yeah, okay, that was all right, but I'm not going back. Now, if they've enjoyed it as well as produced a fantastic show, then we're in business. That's the real success of Cornish Phoenix. And if we hadn't done that, then I'd have considered it a failure. But no, I was very pleased. I think it worked superbly well.
The great thing about Phoenix is that, you know, you've got 40 to 50 children who are actually performing and learning the craft as well. You know, and from people like Nick Stimpson and Lois and Claire, the whole team really, you know, they're very, very good at what they do, and you learn loads from it.
It gives everyone an opportunity to see theatre and to perform in theatre where they might not get the chance anywhere else, and can also show people a side of theatre, like especially with Cornish Phoenix, that they won't get anywhere else, something that's personal to them.
Travelling companies hopefully provide an example of the professional business, the professional theatre, professional musicals, or whatever their particular speciality is. We do occasionally have dance as well, but it doesn't lend itself to dance because it's a concrete floor. But what the professional company, the travelling company is being is professionalism. The Sterts Theatre Company is not Amdram by any means, but it is unpaid theatre. Now, most people involved in theatre and Sterts are unpaid, but the professionals bring in a different dimension, and they see good professional shows and they see not so good professional shows. and I hopefully weed out the not so good ones and make sure that we only see the good ones. The good ones come back year after year.
Sterts Theatre, I think, is a very unique venue. I take shows to theatres that are probably much more conventional normally. So theatres above pubs, theatres that are just solely theatres. But Sterts is it's the only open air theatre that I'm coming to. But it sort of sits between open air and sort of, because you've got this fantastic roof on it. You don't have all the issues that you'd have with a standard open air theatre like the Minack or something like that, which is open to the elements. So you've kind of got the security of knowing you can pretty much do it all rain and shine. But also you've got that kind of atmosphere that comes with the open air, and you know, it's sat in the middle of Bodmin Moor. You know, mist comes down and whatnot. You've got such an atmospheric kind of place. I mean, the people that run it are really, really helpful, and the audience seems to be fairly interested in new kind of productions, new performances. So yeah, that's kind of what drew me.
My favourite part of Sterts Theatre is my favourite part of any theatre, whether I'm a performer, a director, stagehand, or what I am. The 5 minutes before curtain up on the opening night is just such a buzz. It's an amazing feeling. It is the biggest adrenaline rush I know, and I hope my wife's not listening, but it is absolutely fantastic. It is the best moment of all, and I just love that 5 minutes before curtain up. The audience are there, it's all exciting. All the work has come together, and now you're there. You're going to make it all happen. That is fantastic.